Welcome to Distracted, the podcast with Angela Lockwood, the place where you will find practical brain-boosting strategies, expert insights, and real-life stories to help busy brains thrive in the age of distraction. Let's go. Welcome to Distracted. I'm Angela Lockwood. Today's episode has come about through some recent conversations that I have had with clients through my executive coaching programs. And these executive coaching programs are very much helping people in positions where they have a lot of responsibility, and whether it be through tasks or responsibility through people, it could be responsibility through big financial contracts as well. But pretty much the thing that combines all of my clients in that sort of executive coaching space is responsibility, high workloads, high pressure, and the expectation and the assumption that everything stops with them. And as you can imagine, that pressure is often taken on. That when we have expectations given to us from other people, and whether or not it's implied assumption, or whether it is, people literally say, well, that's your job, you need to do it. That pressure that a lot of people in these leadership roles take on really takes a big toll on their health and their well-being. And what I see so many times, and I guess that's what leads a lot of people in leadership positions to work with me, is that often that perception that they should have it all together, that they should have all the answers, can really have a very negative impact on people's ability to reach out or their willingness to reach out. So what I mean by that is, you think about people in leadership roles. If they're in that position because they have got expertise in that area, or they've got many, many years of experience, people look to them to think that they have all of the answers. But we know that that's not true. People in leadership roles have some of the answers. They have the ability to work through challenges. They might be have really good resilience strategies themselves. They might be fantastic communicators. But very rarely do people in leadership positions have the whole package. And so when there's an area in a leader's toolkit where they feel like they need support, or they need to be challenged, or they need to step out of their comfort zone, very rarely is there people within the workplace that they feel either comfortable enough or challenged by enough to seek out help from them. Now, that's not every workplace, of course. You might be in a workplace where there's some really fantastic opportunities and really great relationships are formed. And if that's the case and you're using those people, then I'm sure that you're feeling really comfortable in your role. But for a lot of people in leadership positions, they need to look externally to the organization to get the support that they need. And that's what today's episode is really very much about, is how can I support, and how do I support leaders to break through the noise of their role, to break through those expectations that they often have, so that they can really focus on what is their strengths, so that they can focus on what are the things that light them up about their job? What are the things that are really great and unique skill sets of theirs, maybe? But what are the things that I do to support these people through some of these challenges? Because one thing I also know, being an executive coach, is that I don't know everything about their job, and I never pretend to know everything about their job. But what I do know, and what I can support people in leadership roles, is very much knowing how to manage themselves amongst all of that pressure. It might be recognizing the triggers or the things that sort of spark them or send them into sometimes a little bit of a spiral, or it might be the what are the things that, when they're in a state of overwhelm, that they need to be aware of and keep an eye out for. But there's a whole lot of other strategies as well that I work through leaders when I'm coaching them through my focus coaching program, that I find is really beneficial for them. And from the feedback that I get, it's having that sort of third eye perspective that really, really helps them. And even having somebody who doesn't know the ins and outs of the job or ins and outs of the role is also a really great opportunity for them to jump in a little bit more detail into their work, but also get a completely fresh perspective. And of course, I love doing that myself too, because I get to see, and I feel very honored to be able to have these insights into the reality of people's worlds. Because what we often do is we look to people in leadership roles. And in fact, we even do this with celebrities. We might do this to people online, but specifically to people in leadership roles. And we look to them and go, they should have it all together. And I don't know what that is all based on, why we think they should. Sometimes it might be because they're earning more than me. You might be in a position and you look at the leaders within your organization, you go, well, they should know what they're talking about because they're earning so much more than me. That's one assumption. Or it might be that they've had so many more years experience than me. So they should have all the answers. They shouldn't get stressed. They shouldn't get burnt out. But we know that that's not true, because it doesn't matter where in the hierarchy of an organization you sit, you are still feeling the pressure of your role. You're feeling the expectations of your role. And you're also feeling, I guess, the internal expectations too, that you need to be doing a great job. And for leaders, this becomes even more so because they have people often who are under them. And this might be you, that you have a big team under you who look to you for all the answers. And when you don't have all the answers, that can be really stressful. So when I'm working with my clients, first of all, hands up to people who reach out, right? Because it does take a real lot of courage to go, hey, I would love some help in this area. And what I find are the leaders who are doing really well and flourishing are the leaders who go, I am doing well and I still want to be able to develop. So it's not necessarily, oh my gosh, I'm so stressed, I'm so burnt out, everything's falling apart, so I need help. Sure, of course, sometimes that's the case, but more often than not, people are saying, look, I want to get better in a certain area. I want to be able to, it might be gain more confidence. It might be I want to look at how I use my time because it just seems like I have this never ending to-do list. Or it might be my energy really wanes. I'm noticing I'm waking up tired. I'm not sleeping well, that I'm sort of dragging myself through the day. Other times people reach out to me because they're realizing in meetings that they're not fully present. So they're missing a lot of context. They're missing a lot of the detail of what's happening in meetings. And it doesn't matter how much they try to focus and attend in a meeting, they're missing lots and lots of crucial information and data. And so what they're realizing is after their meetings that they sort of have to do more work than what they would have if they were fully present in the meetings. So some people reach out because they're stressed. Some people reach out because they want to develop more in particular areas. Some people reach out too because they're noticing that some of their behaviors in their workplace maybe need to be refocused, or that they need to sort of press pause and look at how they're doing it. And if any of these resonate with you, I really encourage you to have a look at the supports that you have around you. Do you have people in your corner who you can speak really openly and honestly with and say, look, I'm finding it really difficult in this aspect of my role. Are you able to support me with that? Or can I run this by you? Or let's have a chat about this. Or do you need to expand your network? Do you need to look outside of your workplace and look at other colleagues or even a third eye perspective, like I provide my executive coaching clients, to be able to sort of go, you know what, I really need help in this. I really just want to be able to speak really openly and honestly with you about some of the challenges I'm facing, or I really want to get to the next level. I feel like I've plateaued, which we all do in all areas of our life. We hit a plateau. And what we need is to be challenged. We need to be pushed out of our comfort zone so that we can go to that next level. So if that sounds like you, either of those examples sound like you, then please reach out to me at angelalockwood.com.au or DM me through any of my socials, either be on LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, and I will get back to you, because I know as a leader, it's really tough. It's a tough gig. And with all the changes that are constantly happening in our workplaces or even in our legislation, I know a lot of industries, particularly in the health industry, have been a huge increase in my client network over the last few years, have been such big changes in the health and disability space because there's been lots and lots of changes in legislation, and leaders are finding it really hard to keep up with it. And not only are they finding it hard to keep up with legislation changes, but they're also finding it hard to keep up with systemic changes. And they're really finding it hard to keep their team motivated because they're feeling flat. They're feeling tired. They're feeling like their time is not being used well. So when you're feeling flat yourself, you know that it's really hard to stay up, stay focused, and stay motivating your team because you know that the team are feeling the ripple effect. So I just want to go through a couple of things with you. If you are a leader in a leadership role or you're aspiring to be a leader, I just want to talk about some really simple strategies that you can implement. And you might already be doing this, so it's a great opportunity for you to give yourself a pat on the back and go, I'm on the right track. But some really simple strategies about how you can break through the noise of your work. Because we know that we're surrounded by so much noise, whether it be noise through our emails, through phone calls, through people coming in our door in our office, or even just through the noise of keeping up with industry changes. And all this noise, what it does is it surrounds us with, it's almost like we put ourselves in a cocoon of noise. And if we don't have the strategies and the skills on board to be able to filter out what's important in that noise, then all of it becomes irrelevant. All of it becomes unimportant, and we miss really important details because what we end up doing is shutting out. We hear so much constant noise around us that it's really hard to be able to know what's important to focus on. But not only that, it's hard to quieten everything else. And a lot of people go, well, I should just know how to do this. I have been in the industry for 30 years. I should know how to do this. Or I'm young. I should know how to do this. I've got the energy. There's always so many examples that people give me in these leadership positions of why they should have it all together, why they should be able to quieten the noise, why they should be able to focus on what's important to them. And you can hear the word, it's all shoulds. And shoulds are a really, I guess, a red flag for me when I hear people say, I should be able to do this, I should be able to do that. Because who said? Who said you should need to do those things? And there's a reason why they're not. So if they feel like they should be able to manage their time better, then the conversation really needs to not be about, well, how about we manage your time better? It's really about having the conversation that sits behind that, which is about why aren't you managing your time better? Let's have a look at that. And that's what the real benefit of having an external person working with you is, that they get to understand and ask the questions that you need to be asked, not the stock standard pull off the shelf questions that you can get in a manual. The type of questions that you need to be asked to be able to unlock and help you develop and thrive in what you need. And it's that individualized approach that I've always prided myself on, is never developing a program that is a cookie cutter approach. It's definitely programs that I go, what do you need and how can we support you through that? The framework I use for the coaching is the focus formula, and I step people through that focus formula just as a framework, but it's definitely tailor-made to you. So let's have a look at what some of the strategies are. Okay, you might be really interested and go, okay, great. Let's see what you do actually recommend to people. Now, this is not everybody. Again, it depends on where you're at, what you need. But definitely time, energy, and attention are the three areas where I notice most people are having difficulty in. People in leadership roles, because of the demands on their time from people, but also deadlines, meeting times, everything seems to be driven by the clock. Have you ever felt that yourself, that the clock is almost governing your day? And there's this dance between it, and it depends. Sometimes it feels like they're both demanding equally, but sometimes it could be one more than the other. Is it time that's demanding of you, in terms of pressure of time, watching the clock, needing to be in places at certain times, having deadlines looming? Or is it the tasks that you need to do within that time? Let me just say that again. So is it just the fact of the pressure of time, or is it the amount of tasks that you have that sit within that time frame? And so although time management, we've been talking about it forever, right? For years and years. Some people, go really play with time management and go, oh, it's you can't manage time. We all have the same amount of time. But what I do see very much when I work with my leadership clients and people who are in these executive roles who they're already high achieving. They're already people who they've got a good handle on time. They've got people around them who they can often delegate tasks to. But what the challenge is, it's not about how to manage time. It's really about understanding what's important right now for them. So what they're doing is they're trying to fit everything in. They're trying to do lots of tasks in short periods of time, or they're overscheduling themselves so they don't have the moments within their day to be able to have space, to have those and be able to address those unexpected things that just pop up in their day. So when I look at time and looking at the efficiency of time and how they use their time, often some of the really big aha moments for my clients is when they realize how little amount of time they spend on doing the things that really matter to them. So what they realize is so much of their week, so much of their day is really made up of tasks that they're not really interested in. So they're not highly prioritized, they're not highly meaningful and value laden tasks or time. So they're doing things that, although it might be a part of their work, they're not things that actually light their soul up. They're not things that make them feel like they are progressing. They're not sort of time usage tasks where they go, yeah, like I'm just trying to cram in the things that I enjoy. It's not the opposite. So they might be going, right, in my lunch break between 12 and 12:45, I'm going to go to the gym. And that's a very high pressured, they're racing from one to the next. They're trying to cram in to have a shower before they get to the next meeting. And they absolutely love to exercise. Now, it's fantastic that they're carving out that time in their day to be able to exercise in between meetings and everything. But what it's doing is it's not actually allowing their system to press pause or allow their system to energize because of how they're transitioning into it, because of the thinking around that time that they have and how they transition back to their workplace. Into the next meeting. It's very high pressured and it's sort of this sort of state of stress that they continue to put themselves in, even when they're doing a preferred activity. So looking at how you use your time and how you want to be using your time is really important. And often we're way too close. We are way too close to our calendar to be able to see the patterns. We're way too close to our tasks and how we use our time to even see the gaps or see the lack of gaps and how we can make those shifts. So that's a really first one where I would really work through with leaders around how do they break through the noise. It's very much looking at time. The second part of it is looking at our energy. Now, this is not the woo-woo type energy, although that might come in for some people, but it's very much looking at, do you have the energy to sustain you to do the things that you need? And often not more than more than not is that people actually find that they wake up maybe tired, they get a little bit energized during the day, and then the end of the day, they're switching off. Their brains are fatigued, they've got brain fog, their lack of focus at the end of the day. They go and do some other habits that help pick up their energy again, and then they're finding that they either can't fall asleep or they're falling asleep exhausted. And looking at this energy management for people is a real game changer. If you're in a leadership or an executive position where you do have high demands on you, then energy management and sustaining your energy and energy regulation is your superpower. You're already there because of the skills that you have. Now, if you don't have the energy that sits behind that, then what you'll be doing is just dragging yourself through the day. So you'll be dragging yourself from the beginning to the end of the day, just looking for the next energetic fix. And that might be your coffee. That might be food. That might be distracting yourself doing other things because your energy has dropped. It might be having the last couple of hours of your day not really productive at all. So, your energy and understanding your energy, understanding your peaks and flows, understanding the cycles of your energy, it really is. It is your superpower. And I see this time and time again with my clients. That's when the light really switches. That's when it turns on because people go, I so get it. That's why at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm in just such a slump. I could never concentrate in the meetings because of my energy. And instead of beating ourselves up and going, we should be able to focus, we should be able to know this, what we're doing is we're coming from a point of understanding of how our body and our energy works. So that's a real game changer. Not only just looking at our time, but also looking at our energy. One of the other areas, and it's not the only area that I work through when I'm working with my executive clients, is looking at our attention. And our attention is really important when there is so much noise around us. When we have so much vying for our attention, it is really difficult to use our brains effectively to be able to focus on what's important. Similar to when I was talking sort of earlier about our time, when we're living in this cocoon of noise, knowing where to shift our focus and to put our attention on something, it can be really hard. And willpower is what we mostly rely on. That's really tough. So when you are already pressured, when you're already feeling stressed, when your energy is low, your willpower is not going to step in like the big superhero we think it all is and go, don't worry, I've got your back. It's never going to go, I've got you. Let's do this together. Your willpower takes energy. Your willpower also takes cognitive load and cognitive effort to be able to activate. So if you're feeling tired, if you're feeling stressed, if your brain's already in this sort of brain fog phase, well, I'm sorry, your willpower is probably going to leave you hanging. That's why when you get home, you could be on, this fantastic eating plan, or you could be really focusing on your physical health. And you've had a big day at work. You get home, you open the fridge, you look in the fridge, and despite every goodwill that you have, you open that fridge, you hear the voice in your head that says, "Don't do it." But you quickly override that with going, "But I've had a big day." You reach for the food and you eat it. Afterwards, you feel guilty and the cycle just continues. Now, our willpower was always there, but it didn't have our back in that moment because of those reasons of being tired and fatigued and also just having that brain fog. We just have enough, right? So if you find you get home at the end of a long day and you're finding that it's really hard to make really good decisions, my first book, The Power of Conscious Choice, I talk a lot about how we make really good decisions through intuition and logic and the dance between those two. So how we make decisions is really important, but we can't make good decisions if we don't know where to focus, if we don't have the energy to make good decisions, and if we feel pressured. Think about it too, just when you go out for dinner, for example, and everyone's sitting around and everyone's waiting for you to order. They've already picked their meal. They know, but you haven't quite decided yet. You're looking through and you're like, I don't know. Often what happens is because of the pressure of the people around us, because of the time pressure they've now enforced on us, we will often make a decision. We will choose a meal we don't want. And just because we're under that pressure. And what happens then is we get the meal comes out, we have food envy, everyone's got all these amazing meals and we don't like what we've eaten and it feels like our night's been ruined. When in fact, what happens often in our day is exactly that translated into our work. We feel time pressure, we feel people pressure. And if we don't know what we want, if we don't know how to focus our attention well, then what happens is we make really lazy decisions. We either deflect responsibility onto somebody else to make a decision, or you know what? We just give up. We throw our hands in the air and we don't make a good decision at all. So If any of these sound like you, if you're in a position where you just know that you are feeling under pressure, it might be the tightness in the chest, the tightness in the jaw, it just might be, and you know what, I really just want to do this better. I'm doing well, but I know I could do it better. Then consider reaching out. Head on over to angelalockwood.com.au/coaching. And there's information on there about the focus formula, what's included in the executive coaching package. And have a little read of there around and sort of just think, is this what I need right now? Because one of the questions that I often ask, in fact, I pretty much always ask my clients, what do you need right now? It's a super powerful question because very rarely do we take the time to go, what is it that I actually need? Not is it what do I want or what should I be doing? If you think about what do I need right now? And for some of you that are listening to this, it'll be, I actually do need help with this. I really want somebody who has my back, who's in my corner, who I can trust, who is there 100% completely for me. And if that's you and you're wanting to get a better handle on your time, your energy, or your attention, then please head on over to angelalockwood.com.au/coaching. I do have positions open at the moment. So there are 4 positions for executive coaching. I give a lot of energy, time, and attention to my executive coaching clients. So I don't take on a lot. So if this sort of information is resonating with you and you're really interested in finding out more about coaching, and I can guarantee you that you'll have my back. I'll have your back, and yeah, you probably will have mine as well, because this is a team effort. It's always important when we're doing really important work in the world like you are, that you have somebody who's got your back. You've got somebody who you can ask those really personal and tricky questions to, who you know has the skills and the experience to support you. So hopefully today you've been able to get a little bit of awareness that if you are feeling under pressure, if you are wanting to level up, if you're knowing that there's just something not right for you in your role at the moment and you want things to change, then please head on over, as I said, to angelalockwood.com.au/coaching, and you can find out all about the executive coaching role program there. And I would be more than happy to talk to you. And just remember, though, we've got to be super kind on ourselves. I see a lot of executives who really beat themselves up. They know that they've got the intelligence, they know they've got the drive, they know they've got the vision to do the work that they do. And this constant thinking of I should have it all together, well, it's just false. There's no reason you should have it all together, because nobody does. And the fact that you're listening to this and you've got to the end of this episode, then my thinking would be your intentions are 100% in the best place, and you just want support to do an even better job. You want support to be able to have the life that you choose and the vision that you have. So hopefully you've enjoyed this episode today, where we've talked about how can you break through the noise as a leader, as an executive, and where you can go to get support you need. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone. I'm Angela Lockwood, and until next time, just keep doing the work you love. Stay focused on the things that are important to you.